Welcome to Storytime. Enjoy with me.
A Devoted Son by Anita Desai.
Part 2.
Halwa was the first thing to go. Soon, everything fried was forbidden, then everything sweet, and finally, everything. Everything that the old man enjoyed. The meals that arrived for him twice a day were simple, to say the least. Dry bread, boiled vegetables, and if there were a bit of chicken or fish, that was boiled too. If he called for some more, Rakesh used to shake his head sadly, saying, "Now, Papa, we must be careful. We don't want another illness, do we?" The old man bribed his grandson to buy him sweets in the market. But Rakesh found out and was violently angry with him. The old man sighed and lay down in his dead body position, but that worried no one any longer. There was only one pleasure left to the old man now. His son's early morning visits and readings from the newspaper could no longer be called that. His visits from neighbours. Old Bhatia, from next door, sometimes came to see him. If Rakesh were at home, he used to help his father into the garden and leave the two old men under the tree, chewing betel leaves and discussing their illnesses enthusiastically. "At least you have a doctor in the house to look after you," sighed Bhatia one day. "Look after me?" cried Varma, his voice breaking with anger. He does not even give me enough to eat." "What?" said Bhatia. "Doesn't give you enough to eat? Your own son?" "My own son. If I ask him for one more piece of bread, he says, 'No, Papa. I have weighed it myself and I can't allow you any more.' He weighs the food he gives me, Bhatia. That's what it has come to." "Never," said Bhatia in horror. "Is it possible, even in these terrible times, for a son to refuse his father food?" "Let me tell you," Varma whispered eagerly. "Today, the family was having fried fish. I could smell it. I called Veena to bring me a piece. She came to the door and said, 'No.'" "Said no?" Now it was Bhatia's voice that broke. "No?" "She said no. Rakesh has ordered her to give me nothing fried. No butter, no oil." "No butter, no oil? How does he expect his father to live?" "That is how he behaves. After I brought him up, gave him an education, made him a great doctor." "Great doctor! This is the way great doctors behave to their fathers, Bhatia." But complaining to an old friend like Bhatia did not help much. Varma was now eating so little that he soon became really weak and ill. Rakesh made him take all kinds of medicine instead of the natural foods that Varma wanted. The old man began to feel frightened and helpless. He begged Rakesh not to make him take any more medicine. "Let me die," he cried. "It would be better. I do not want to live if all I get to eat is your medicine." "Papa, be reasonable. I leave that to you," the father cried. "Let me die now. I cannot live like this." Rakesh left the room and the old man heard him say, laughing, to someone outside the door, "Lying all day on his pillows, fed every few hours by my wife's own hands, visited by every member of the family daily, and then he says he does not want to live like this?" The medicine he had to take was not completely useless. It kept him alive, long after he stopped wanting to live. In the evenings that summer, the servants used to carry out his bed, with him on it, and put it carelessly down on the veranda. In answer to his complaints, they said the Doctor Sahib had told them he must take the evening air, and the evening air they would make him take. Then Veena, that fat, smiling, silly woman, appeared and piled up his pillows, so high that his back ached. "Let me lie down," he begged. "I can't sit up any more." "Try, Papa. Rakesh says you can if you try," she said, and went off to the other end of the veranda to listen to love songs on the radio. So there he sat, like a dead body, cold and stiff, watching his grandsons playing cricket on the grass and terrified of getting a ball in his eye. At last the sky blue ambassador arrived. The cricket game stopped at once, and the doctor, the great doctor, all in white, stepped out. Someone ran up to take his bag, others to walk up the steps with him. His wife turned down the radio and called out to offer him tea or a cold drink. But he did not reply or even look at her. Always a devoted son, he went first to the corner where his father sat stiff and silent, staring at nothing. "Papa," he said lovingly, sitting on the edge of the bed and reaching out to rub his father's feet. Old Varma put his feet under him, out of the way, and continued to stare straight ahead into the dusty yellow air. "Papa, I'm home. How are you feeling, Papa?" Then Varma turned and looked at his son. His face was so old and tired that it could not communicate to the famous man exactly what his father thought of him. "I'm dying," he whispered. "Let me die, I tell you." "Papa, you're joking." His son smiled at him. "I've brought you some new medicine. You must take it. It will make you feel stronger again." "Promise me you'll take it regularly, Papa." There was a pause. Then Varma spat out some words, sharp and bitter as poison, into his son's face. "Keep your medicine. I want none. I won't take any more. None. Never." And he knocked the bottle out of his son's hand with a movement that was suddenly grand and effective. His son jumped. The bottle smashed and the thick brown liquid stained his white trousers. His wife let out a cry and came running. All around the old man was noise once again. He gave a push to the pillows behind him so that they fell off the bed and he could lie flat on his back again. He closed his eyes and pointed his chin at the ceiling, saying as firmly as a sick old man could, "God is calling me. Now let me go."
The end.